Well, thank you for joining us once again. We hope that ICASA conversation with the health minister as well as the president for SAA, that is the International Conference on HIV/AIDS as well as sexually transmitted diseases, going to take place right here in Ghana from the 3rd to the 8th of December 2025 will help us resolve some of the difficulties that, well, individuals affected with HIV as well as AIDS go through. And let me say good morning to all of you who have joined us. Right. I've loved the way Na Shoko has been looking so beautiful. I saw her gym videos yesterday and then I went and I said, why Na? Why not? Na likes gymming too much. And many of you on social media assumed I was in the gym with her. I was not. Because she went to alone. This one, she's in it alone. All right. Well, let me just introduce our guest for the morning. I have right here lawyer Jimegan. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Lawyer, engineer.
Okay. Engineer, lawyer, or which one first?
Anyone.
Okay. Lawyer, engineer Jimegan. All right.
morning.
Thank you for joining us as
Pleasure.
well. All right. And then, of course, lawyer Pierre Dankwa. Thank you also. Are you also an engineer?
I'm Mr. Pierre Dankwa.
Okay. Well, so lawyer Pierre Dankwa is also here. And then Dr. Kweku Boahing is also joining us. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. We'll be having a conversation on the newly released the newly released conversation about the result of WASSCE. That's the West African School Certificate Examination. That's the appropriate name for it. And many of you have been raising issues, parents especially, for those of us who have children who wrote the exams, etc., raising issues because nationally the pass marks haven't been very good. Averagely, we're told that we've gone to pre-2018 levels, and so it's the worst, the worst over the last 7 years. All right. Or 6 years, so to speak. So I see a couple of you. Prince Daniel York is watching us from the UK. Mani Nimani, I see Sagacity, V Mama Kokonsan, Agongo Roger, a number of you as well. And then Zilis Dwayne. Zilis Dwayne is a Liverpool fan, so he had a good time over the weekend. As a Chelsea fan, we didn't. And so we'll see how that goes. But we will also be joined by some individuals, especially from the West African Examination Council. John Kapi is the head of public affairs, West Africa Examination Council. But the results really have been telling, and we will want all of you to join in the conversation. It's very important for us. According to the statistics we're having, the average 2025 WASSCE core subject rates was 57.8%, the lowest since 2018. The highest in recent times still remains 70% back in 2023. And I made a point here that Dr. Yawase Duchum said is because government reduced allowances or delayed in the payment of some allowances for teachers, etc. So demotivated them to put in their effort. It's one of the ascribed reasons. And Dr. Yawase Duchum, good morning to you wherever you find yourself. That man is a good man. He's one of, is it 4? Contesting for the presidential primaries alongside Kenny Japo. Five. All right. And then also we have so Kofi Asare put something in. Kofi Asare is executive director for Africa Education Watch. He will also be joining us when he has a time, asking the question whether WASSCE has a direct correlation as a result to more practice, and he tried to put some things out there. So we will interrogate these issues widely. Okay, do we have John Kapi joining us? Not yet. Okay, so when we have John Kapi joining us, that's PRO for the West Africa Examination Council. Out of 461,000 WASSCE candidates, only 382,000 had results released for integrated science. Well, it's not only. So that if you do the ratio, but rather we have about 120,000 of them, 80,000 of them not having their integrated science results released. All right. So, Lawyer Engineer Jamaica, what do you make of the WASSCE result? I'm sure it's occupying your mind as well.
Yes.
Do you have any child who wrote the WASSCE?
No, I don't have
relatives?
any.
Okay.
Yeah, I have relatives, I have friends who have written.
All right.
Good morning to your viewers, wherever they are.
Morning.
And good morning, of course, to my good people in Hohwe.
Your constituency is Hohwe?
Yes, my constituency is
Where's
Hohwe.
your constituency? Amasaman. Okay.
Yes, and some two ladies celebrating birthday today. Permit me to wish Yabema happy birthday. And
Yabema?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You know her?
No, I know a lot of Yabemes. I know I have at least
Irene
two.
Odai also happy birthday. But this, whilst we are talking about the education sector, let's also be talking about some of the good things that are coming out in other areas. And I would like to talk about the improvements that are to be made in the rubber industry before I come to the
Based
education.
on what was mentioned in the budget?
In the budget.
Okay.
That,
are you an investor in the rubber industry?
No, not
Or is
yet.
just a general observation?
I'll be, no, the government is making an effort, so not just a general observation. So the purpose is that the domestic exports will be halted so that production will feed domestic industries. We eat what we grow. That will help the rubber industry so that there will be more jobs and there will be less job losses. Prior to coming here, someone sent me a message that if you ever find yourself on TV this week, appeal to the teachers to help everybody without focusing too much on extra classes where not everybody will have the opportunity to attend, so that some people can equally be part of them. But you see, the baseline of all this is the fact that the free SHS and its success has largely been massaged.
I don't understand.
Yes,
you want to descend into MPP and DC politics with the results?
No, I won't descend into it.
Because that's what social media is telling us.
Yes, that it has been massaged. It is true.
No, social media is telling us that the result has now transitioned into MPP and DC. So who did better, who did not do better?
No, I'm not talking about who did better, who did. I'm talking about the fact that to see that the free SHS has been successful, there were arm twisting for good grades to come up. But if you look at it this particular year, WAEC has stepped up its own supervision roles. They sent their own supervisors to each center. And that has also resulted in some of these things that we're talking about. During the exams time, you saw the number of teachers who were arrested for carrying out mobile phones, who were trying to give answers to students, etc. Hitherto, that number wasn't that high. So there had been massaging over the years for some of these things. And today we are seeing the efforts that, the outcome that we are seeing today. Fast forward, we need to be thinking how to fix some of these things.
What are some of the issues that you think that perhaps compromised or created an atmosphere where we had good results within the period precluding this year's?
That's what I'm saying, that there was arm twisting of
yeah, I'm asking you, what do you mean by arm twisting? Explain that to me.
So that the grades will look good, and someone will hail the fact that we have performed very well with some of these things. Even these exams, we heard of demonstration in some of the schools that students felt entitled that they were not allowed to copy.
Yeah, they wanted to look into books.
Look into books, because their previous seniors were allowed to do that. And they were not being allowed because things have changed. So some of these things definitely will reflect. And again, I'm happy that you have a representative of WAEC. Unfortunately, I'm not the host. I would have asked some of those questions. Some of these things also call into question their own credibility. When you take these results, the results are not only to be used in Ghana. The results are used outside Ghana as well. And when everybody is reading some of these about the results that you are churning out, then it becomes a problem. So WAEC, even though they appear to be independent, they have not been really, really independent. And we urge WAEC that change your modus operandi. There could be situations where WAEC could move from, let's say if the students of Achimota want to write, they ship all of them to, let's say, Accra Girls to write there in a different environment. They ship everybody from maybe Accra Girls to Kolegon or something, so that there will be that idea of compromising some of the teachers, some of people, the pupils or students who write on their desks, etc., should be taken out. The idea of entitlement that we need to be helped during the exams is also greatly affecting us. So WAEC, step up. Again, who prints the question papers? Who distributes them? And every year we hear of leak. Every year we hear of leak. Why? we have come to a stage where they need to change their way of doing things. So I'm happy that you get a WAEC guy. Perhaps you will allow us also to question him on one or
No, you
two
have your
things.
time, so talk as
Yes,
much as you want.
yes, we have our time
Because
doing things.
I
Yes.
asked a question. You
Yes.
said that massaging, etc., and you've not adduced reasons for you to be positing that the results were being massaged. Is it because of the environment?
I've given some.
Okay,
that,
you said
for example,
open book.
Yes,
Okay.
and students who feel entitled that they need to copy. Number two, students who, teachers who were helping. Then, of course, during the marking of the papers, etc., I believe, and no, as I said, some of these things laid credence to some of the things that are happening, that they were compromised to give certain marks so that it will look good. Look at the period you were talking about that there will be improvement. Look at the period, and post that, things are falling. Does it mean that within these 8 months that someone else is in charge, all of a sudden things are falling while the students have already prepared? So I want to appeal to WAEC that your credibility is also very important. Whatever you wish the world to know about WAEC, that when you take the results outside Ghana, UK, France, USA, Canada, and they trust that this result is good, it all boils down to WAEC. And it's up to WAEC to do that work for us. But then I feel that we should move on from the questioning, the apportioning blame to how do we improve some of these things. Yes, of course, there are certain schools that lack teachers. And there are certain schools that have very good teachers. Maybe some of the prof here will help us. We could have a situation where we select students from some of these needy schools to attend classes with some of these well-endowed lectures and record it. So that will be sent back to every school that when you have, let's say, a chemistry class and you don't have a chemistry lecture, there's something on the board, you sit down, you go through the lecture. Some students in the class who had attended had asked questions. Perhaps some of those questions were the same questions you'll be asking, and that will help you. Now we are told they have tablets. Those could equally be uploaded on their tablets, and with a bit of discipline, you sit down and you read some of them and watch the lectures as they are being unfolded. Number two, I feel that sometimes the teachers themselves need to upgrade some of their skills. Very few people in this part of the world know that in other countries that were taught in geography, when they are talking about longer day, shorter night, sometimes the sun sets at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. People don't know. We are only taught that shorter day, longer night. And some people are not aware that in certain areas, the sun sets at about 11 p.m. But the one we were taught from class 1, and they are still teaching it up to today. So a bit of upgrade also for the teachers. Finally, we need to make teaching profession also very interesting.
You mean more attractive?
Attractive, yes. Attractive. And that is why I'm happy that His Excellency the President, when he made the statement that recruitment into the teaching profession will be done locally, I believe such a policy is very good. For example, if you are going to Huawei advertises that they have only one vacancy for teacher, and you look at it, across board, every teacher earns 1,000 a month. Huawei Municipal Assembly says that they will add 1 olonka of rice, 1 olonka of maize, and you look at it and you are like, no, I want to go for that one. Sabzugu Tatali says that they are adding a pound of beef and adding this, and you look at it and you're like, hallelujah, I'm going in there. Then you don't move from Sabzugu tomorrow and say, I'm going to Dade Kotopon. You only move to Dade Kotopon when there is vacancy and you apply. You don't get a release, go there, get released. Some of these things also need. So in the short term, I think that things are not really bad. The students also have responsibility. The teachers have responsibility, and WAEC must sit up. Otherwise, we are going to have some of these things going forward. And that entitlement, I plead with parents, let your students know that they need to learn.
Okay. Loapia Dankwa, there was some period in time, I mean, they say that irrespective of the passes you have, you can go to some schools. So we have some of the best schools where the arguments have been made that there are those who had some of the lowest of the grades, but they're still there. Poorest of the grades. So I'm asking a question about the correlation of the quality of the students we're producing at the basic level. That should feed senior high school, even though now, looking at the new curriculum, all of them, they say they are basic up to GSS or second. So is it not a conversation we should have? Because I remember back in the day, if you have somebody at basic level, I mean, they're as good as anything, you know, averagely. We're talking averages.
Okay, so let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning. Wish my colleagues here, Professor and engineer lawyer, a good morning. Yourself a good morning.
He's an engineer lawyer.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have
Dr. Tutubuahin, welcome. I haven't said good morning to you.
Papa Ro.
Yeah.
Good morning.
What's up?
Good morning to everyone.
Okay. We're in your field today, education and the results.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so I think what I have here is the percentages over the past 4 years. And I think if there's something that is clear, that in some of the courses, especially mathematics and science, there's a sharp drop-off. Now, this sharp drop-off has happened in the period of 4 years, so I can confidently say that significantly in terms of the teachers, the quality of the teachers, nothing drastic has changed. Essentially, it will likely be the same teachers who have taught our children over the past 4 years. And so even though WAEC is yet to come out with the reasons for the sharp decline in performance, I think if there's one thing that we can be certain about is the circumstances really hasn't changed much within the past 4 years. Also, I think my learned friend here was talking about some massaging of the performance. Is the performance or the circumstances of the performance?
Both.
Yeah. I think I agree to him to the extent that, and I think if I'm mistaken here, because the factual issue, I ought to be corrected. Did they distribute passports last?
Well,
Because
they have this Pasco,
government,
the 64 million one.
Was buying passports for the students.
Yes.
Spent 64 million of our money to buy passports.
Yeah. What's that got to do? So it led to.
Last year, did they buy passport for them? I don't know.
But the passports are supposed to be reused.
No. So they
It's
give
the
them.
same. It's the copies that the schools have. So when year one uses it, when the first batch uses it, you send it to the next batch.
Do you know for a fact that's what happens? Because we know that government was spending our monies buying past questions for the students. What I'm asking you, Roland, is it a case that this year no past school was purchased for the students? Roland, please help me. Well, see, what essentially I'm saying is that the results, as in was what we have here, what they released was a comparative analysis of the results from 2022. So you realize that for mathematics in 2022, the pass rate was 61.39. Then it increased to 62.23. Then went up to 66.86 and dropped massively to 48.73. Roland. Now, a massive drop-off. You take integrated science, 62.45, 66.82, then drop to 58.77, and then 57.74. What's even more alarming was the social studies. Social studies dropped from 71.51, 76.76, 71.53 to 55.82. Now, you know, what I'm essentially saying is that over past the extent of the last 4 years, there can't be any significant changes in terms of the quality of the teaching. Well, there's no evidence, and that there was a significant change in the quality of the teaching. Because that will be, it's likely to be the same teachers that taught these students. So now we ought to find out what significant change. And on top of my head, because for me, I'm waiting for WAEC to give us, or for the Ghana Education Service to give us a report on why this massive drop-off. I'm saying that we were told that over the past 4 or so years, government spends money to buy per school for the students. Now, I don't know whether it was done this year. Because if it was not done this year, that probably could be one of the reasons why it was, they were buying per schools for the students. I think you also made a certain point about what's it called, a drop-off in the quality of the students from the basic Because they're saying
They're
that's
perceived, yes.
perceived. Because right now, what you're saying is that all of them enter. There's all of them enter.
Yes.
And when did that start?
It's a free, it's a whole
And
shipment.
is it the
that is
first
done.
year that this has happened? That they have been free?
No, that's, yes. So now you don't repeat students. So if the student has been assessed by the teacher to be bad in class, which is the right,
Yeah.
and then the competence of the professional teacher, you cannot repeat a student, for
And
example.
since when did they start?
Oh, it's been on for a number of years now, especially when we
So-
had,
so-
because you know government pays bursaries for them through
Yeah.
CSS.
So certainly that
So if you are repeating a student, it means that that person gets to repeat and
So
be on
certainly,
government bursary.
I don't think that can be the reason for the massive drop-off.
No, not necessarily.
Because in
those
that
are
time,
19.
in that time, they were repeating. And on top of my head, I know that these results were better than
Your time.
Than in '97 when I wrote what's called SSE. And in those days, students were repeated. You understand? So that can be the reason. So the only reason that I'm seeing is probably the failure or the refusal to buy Pasco, which for me is the right thing. We shouldn't be buying Pasco. Government shouldn't be using our money to buy Pasco for students. you get a picture. Government shouldn't be using our money to buy Pasco. Rather, what we should do is to probably interrogate the learning, what's called methods and all. Probably the year group in general was weak. Because it happens. Sometimes, you know, garbage in, garbage out. Sometimes you can have a year group, even the so-called top schools. You can get some year group that's really strong.
Sankwa's year group.
I'm not giving them any name. What I'm saying is,
But that's a whole generation, eh?
Yeah, because the drop-off is massive. As in from 60-something% to 48%, it's a massive drop-off. You understand? Or is it a case that the Pasco was peppering over what's called an innate failure or weakness in the system, but the Pasco was peppering over the so-called weaknesses?
You're only being diplomatic.
Let me be diplomatic. Please, allow me to be diplomatic. I'm being diplomatic here because I don't have a report from the genius telling me why or telling us other people why. So I don't want to be speculating. Yeah. And that's why I want to limit myself at least to the comparative analysis here. And it's clear that over a span of 4 years, so nobody can tell me that the standard of the teaching dropped. Because it will likely be the same teachers who are teaching the kids. Yeah. Two, the issue cannot be because there's a wholesale entrance into the SS system. You understand? Because it didn't start. If this year was the first time, or this batch was the first batch of students who were allowed into the senior secondary schools wholesale, then that could have been a reason. I'm saying that in my year, I know it's a very long time ago, but in those days, they were repeating people, weak students, and yet I can on top of my head tell you that the 48 or so % they had in maths was better than our time. You understand? Now, all I'm saying is it the case that the radical spike in performance also was as a result of probably the Pasco and what my learned friend here was alluding to? You get a picture. There are things that we need to interrogate. But for me, I think the bigger question is, over the years, we have an educational system that has radically failed to produce human capital that can transform our country. You understand? We have an education system that is geared towards helping us to pass exams.
And regurgitate.
Yeah.
True and poor.
Yeah, that's the education system. Because you see, when you consider that the founder of Facebook dropped out from uni. So
Not any uni. Which uni?
Harvard. Dropped out
But
of
to
Harvard.
qualify to Harvard is not easy.
No, but you see, a lot of
It
students.
must be shock.
How many Harvard has been producing students since centuries? How many Harvard students have done what is done? The point is, their high school system, you understand, was so good that, as in, he did not need to graduate from the university to create, as in, to tap into his sense of imagination to create Facebook. And it's not just him. Bill Gates was another dropout. You understand? The point is, we in other jurisdictions, you have people who, after leaving high school, their brains have been liberated to the extent, their sense of imagination has been liberated to the extent that they've managed to create systems or create things that have not just transformed their countries, but have transformed the world, have transformed history. You understand? And it tells you these are evidence of the strength of their high school, their secondary school systems. We create Babankwa, in fact, you know, I did science in secondary school. And
You were a science student?
I'm a science student. I did science on the way to the
So
university. He's not the only person who
Baba.
is a science person. I'm also a science person.
Yeah.
I'm also a science person. At this, so I hold I told you I'm a professional forester. I hold a BSc in renewable natural resource management. Done chemistry, biology. I did my national service, I recall, at WASSCE. You know that Rutherford's machine? When you do science first year, Rutherford's machine, you see, we can draw it and label label everything. So when I went there, then there was this technical guy. He went to poly, he didn't go to university like I did. He said, oh, can I identify anything here that I have seen before? And I was all over the place. And the guy started laughing. I said, do I record that in GAST, Rutherford?
Yeah, GAST.
Then he showed me the
Ghana
Rutherford.
Association of Science Teachers.
He showed me, and I was, and he laughed aloud because he said every year when he gets the national service, he asks them the same question, and every year nobody is able to identify it. Why, Baba? So you see, for me, people in other jurisdictions, people have dropped out from the uni and have still created things that have transformed the world. We need to really look at our education system, create an education system that causes our people to be thinkers. You understand? That employs more critical thinking, and a justice system that will unleash the imaginative abilities of the people of this country. As against creating an educational system that is just towards passing examination. I think that, and that was the motivation behind spending our fiscal policy to be buying pascos when clearly they were not enough jobs.
Okay.
So I don't want us to be speculative here. Let's take our time. Let's wait for GES to come out with reasons for this massive drop-off, and then it can then be the basis for us to have a critical relook at our whole entire educational structure.
All right.
Yeah, so that we can change this structure from one that becomes more transformative than this babadicious system.
All right. Sometimes these words you never know until you become a parent, and then you know that, Charlie, these things are ideally should have been the case. But I have John Kapi. John Kapi is the PR boss for the West African Examination Council. Mr. Kapi, have you joined us?
Yes, I'm online.
Okay. Generally, give me an overview. What you put in your release, make it concise for me. And then for West Africa Examination Council, what's the comparative statistical analysis you can give compared to performance? And then relatively a drop, because that's the thrust of the conversation in the public space.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. So yes, we have put out the results of the candidates for the WASSCE candidates 2025. We've indicated clearly in one of the statistics we put out that this is the performance of candidates in the published results, the core subjects. So if you look at the latter part of our statement, we still have some subject results of candidates from about 185 schools we are scrutinizing and investigating, so that if they are not found culpable, these figures may change. The performance in some of the subjects would go up based on what the outcome of the investigations would be. So I would say that for now, we shouldn't be too quick to conclude that this year has not been a very good year, and all the other stories that are going around on social media. But generally, this is a performance of the candidates as examiners.
So which subjects did they perform worse or badly or comparatively not too good?
Well, if you look at the statistics that we have, I think that so far for the published results, the lowest performance will be in core mathematics. The best performance for this particular year has been English language.
You said the best performer has been what?
English language.
All right. What happened to the science and social studies? I mean, what's the statistics like?
Well, if you look at social studies, obviously there's been a steep drop in terms of performance by candidates. We are still putting together the chief examiner's report. I called for it this morning, but it has not got to me yet. And in a casual conversation with my people in charge of social studies, I gathered that there was a little twist, if you want, of the question. Instead of the rote learning that we are used to, we are asking, he asked them to apply the knowledge that they had, the various subjects. So, I mean, in that particular subject, the various topics. So it's not as if they drifted off the syllabus, neither did they put aside the test blueprint. And then looking at the questions and asking them to apply the knowledge, that is probably where he thinks the problem is coming from. A lot of them, he believes, were unable to apply their knowledge. So, and that explains the poor performance, especially in social studies.
Okay, so it's like those in tertiary institutions or maybe postgraduate education, they say explain as well as state. And then so explain and state. Like, for example, you mean they misconstrued the clear intentions of the words in the question. Is that it in social studies?
Well, I wouldn't say I've seen the questions myself, so it would be difficult for me to specifically, you know, the way the questions were cast. But then for him, he wanted them to apply whatever knowledge that they had. If I had the question papers here, I probably would have been able to make a little more meaning than I'm saying right now.
Okay. So for the West African Examination Council, I know you're just the body, so I mean, whatever you say is without meaning, you mean well. For Ghana to do well, and particularly for this related result countrywide, what are your concerns so far?
Well, basically, our concerns are, one, that we still have a situation where, let me talk about irregularities first, where the candidates are bringing in foreign material. So it probably looks as if some of the candidates are not adequately prepared, or they have this psychological feeling that they would need to get some assistance from somewhere in order to be able to make it. You know? And then when it comes to, I wouldn't be able to talk much about teaching because I'm not with them in the classrooms, but a little more effort in terms of preparing the candidates adequately for these examinations would help. And then generally, as an examining body, if you look at the statistics, we certainly would not be happy with it, because if you set an examination and everybody passes, that raises eyebrows. If everybody fails, raises eyebrows. But there should be a kind of balance, you know, so that, because don't all have the same ability levels. If you look at the performance this year and look at the poor performance in some of the subjects, tells you that probably something may have gone wrong in terms of preparing the candidates adequately for the examination.
Kwesi sent me a message, so I'm asking this question. He says, if someone is graded F9, what exam paper marks does that represent? For example, does it mean the person got 20 over 100? I think that's what he wants to say. Because I've seen C6, C4, for example, sorry, at my time, if you have C, you have C. You have D, you have D. So, and then does it also mean all these candidates got these specific exam score? There's a system of grading. So take us through the grading system. I see A, and then I see some you see A, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe, is that D7 or something like that? So take us through.
So if you look at the grading system right now, we have A1, you have B2 and B3. You have C4, C5, and C7, E7 and E8, and then F9. Now, the marks would vary depending on a comparative study of the performance over a 3-year period. That is what the criterion reference grading system would allow you to do, unlike what we do for the BEC, where you put them one cohort, you rank them from the top to the bottom. So it is this 3-year, and then they have grade points that they fix. So based on these grade points, for example, in a particular year, an F9 could be a grade 30 or 35, that kind of thing. They are not fixed grades that we apply. They change with the general performance per year and in comparison with 2 earlier years of the same cohort who wrote the examination.
Okay, so this year is in the cohort, you compare them with which one, last year or next year?
So last year and the year before, there's always a 3-year comparison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a comment here, and this one was screenshot from our Facebook page, and it's coming from a teacher. And I believe that I'm thinking that our viewers are always loyal, and so they'll give us their real names. This one, we don't have some of those aliases. So this George Parkwesi Dodu says, I'm a teacher, and 90% of the bitter truth is that the teachers were prevented from writing the exams for the students. He continues, we have been getting APO, in quotes, and answering questions for them to gain good grades. But how the minister, Harun Idrisu, warned us, we were then afraid, so we didn't try at all. So the few teachers who tried are now those who are facing prosecution. Interpret this for me. I know that for you, you say that there's no APO, because you are the examination body, so you never agree. Even from my time, when the exams was carried in cars or trucks, still, you never agree. But this time, yeah.
Oh, no, let me put it this way. We would not say, if, for example, there's a leakage, there's no way you can deny that there was a leakage, right? Now, you see, there are differences in the way people would look at this. And if I would explain, if, for example, the questions out an hour before they are due to leave our examination depot, then certainly we take the blame. And I think on a few occasions that this has happened, we have come out clearly to indicate that, yes, this is coming from us. That's how come we've asked candidates to resit. Now, what this teacher is alluding to is the fact that, when they release the questions, the people would take a snapshot of it and then post on social media. So just as the examination begins, they would have circulated them so many social media platforms. So people pick these up, then quickly work out the responses and take it back. So all the candidates do is to copy from whatever the teachers have brought out to them. So it is not about leaking. It's about, so you notice that for some of the teachers who were picked up, because they had taken snapshots of the questions, sent and posted on social media. Now, from what the teacher is saying, it's obvious that that has been their modus. And so this time around, with a warning from the minister, they would deal, ruthlessly with any teacher who engages in examination malpractice. They probably got scared, and so they stayed away. We also deployed a whole lot of monitors, our own staff and other people, including GES personnel. The Director General himself went around so just to ensure that the candidates were doing independent work. So if this is his observation, I think that I tend to go with him. It's not about the candidates getting the questions. I had maybe a day or two before the examination. That when they circulate them and they're able to work out quickly, they bring it to them in the examination hall. There are times where we pick them, people up writing even on the board for the candidates to copy. Yeah.
That is previous years, right?
Previous years, exactly. Yeah.
So they even write, they watch the windows, so be anyhow, and then they write the answer. Is that not? That's what you observed as the examination?
That's our observation. They have people they've established watch out posts where they're able to identify any strange person who is coming in there, and quickly they send a signal. There were times that you appear from behind everybody, and then they are quickly trying to rub off whatever they have on the board and that kind of thing. So we've observed a lot of these things. So the teacher has indicated could be exactly true.
So this time you were stricter than before. Is it because you had the collaboration from Ministry of Education, Ghana Education Service to do that, to clamp down or improve on the enforcement and the monitoring?
Certainly, because, as WAEC staff, the entire staff of Ghana in Accra and all the regions, we cannot take care of even one region for the examinations. Certainly, we need other people to come on board. And then this year also, I think that there are a few citizens, a few whistleblowers as well. That helped us a lot because I received several calls from people about us to cheat. When we sent our personnel, they actually, whatever was exactly what we found out. So that explains the number of areas where we're able to curb the high rate of examination malpractice, and then also the reason we have a lot of scripts that we are still scrutinizing. Where times you arrive there and they're already done, but then there are traces of assistance they received from outside. So because of that, we are withholding, and then we are scrutinizing to ensure that we are not awarding grades to people who do not deserve them.
All right. Dr. John Kapi, please be with us. We're closing at 8:45, so thank you for your patience. I have Kofi Asare. Kofi Asare is Executive Director, Africa Education Watch, foremost education think tank, I have to say, now by reputation in Ghana. They tend to watch everything. So, Kofi Asare, there's a teacher who sent a message that the education minister's warning publicly seem to have put so-called fear in the minds of the teachers. So they didn't aid or try to assist their own students. Or even if they were invigilating in other schools, they didn't try to help each other. How was that instrumental in perhaps us getting this result for the students? Kofi Asare.
Well, thank you, Roland, and morning to your audience and panelists. Scientifically, that cannot be proven, okay? But we are having a conversation around preliminary, results release, and we are all trying to find out what could be or what would possibly have been the drivers of the results we are seeing, especially in math and social studies. So yes, these are, if you like, these are more or less guesstimates, right? We are just guessing based on our understanding of the system. Okay, but what I can say is that when you see results of, when you see such a dip in maths and social studies, the first thing that comes into mind is that you need to wait for the chief examiner's report, study it, and look at the trend. Look at answering trends. Look at the stress level. Look at where students struggle to appreciate questions and answering properly. And then, based on that, you develop interventions to strengthen in those areas of gaps. Support the schools, deploy the usual interventions that are done, and motivate the teachers so that they're able to take them through and make sure that there's better preparation towards the next exam. That's one. Secondly, there are exogenous factors, again, that you always predict to have an impact on performance. And one that we cannot discount is the strengthened invigilation we saw this year. Our research in monitoring WASSCE from 150 schools, private and public, using both invigilators and teachers. We call them our monitors. These are monitors we've been working with since 2019. Revealed that 61% of the monitors ranked the quality of invigilation and supervision as between good, very good, and excellent. Excellent was at 9%. Very good was, I think, 28, and then good was, I think, 22 or so. So if you put the three together, it gave you 61%. We launched this report on the 28th of October and published it on 30th on our website. It was a public launch. And so if you look at it, it suggests that invigilation was not bad, it was good. To that extent, you would expect that Kofi Asare, who previously was relying on APO or relying on answers, collusion to pass, may now struggle, and his results will not be the same because he didn't prepare well. So you would expect that some level of impact will happen on the number, on the general, how do you call it, more practice data, and then secondly, on the results. How the impact plays out, we don't know as yet. But I just want to say that those interventions are exogenous ones that impact on performance. Third is the policy regime. Look, we've been monitoring WASSCE since 2019. For the first time, the Ministry of Education, the minister pronounced that any teacher found participating in examination of practice will be outrightly dismissed. That has never happened. Because even in the GNS's own code of conduct, if you are found participating in examination of practice, you are, first of all, suspended. Dismissal is the last resort. And so for most first-time offenders, they are not dismissed outrightly. And I have many examples of a teacher who was teaching management and living during the paper in St. Jerome Senior High School. We have a full video, about 45-minute video. He went through the disciplinary process. Within 2-3 years, we found him that he had become an assigned master academic in the same school. When we inquired, we provided information from the District Education Directorate that he has been sanctioned according to the GNS Code of Conduct, and that he was suspended, and he is back. And so now he's academic headmaster. That was consistent with the Code of Conduct, which we had a problem with, because we thought it wasn't biting. The sanctions weren't deterring. So when we saw the Minister for Education announce that this time around it's outright dismissal, obviously you would realize that those bad teachers, those few bad teachers, who would normally risk, would now think twice, because it's now a high-risk business. Your professional license is on the line, your job is on the line. So all this, and then the GES also asked headmasters to sign an undertaking. The undertaking ensured that headmasters are held responsible for whatever malpractice happens in their school. So if you put all these three exogenous factors together, okay, vis-a-vis the possibly poor preparation towards examination, and then us waiting for the chief examination results to see where the gaps were, you will realize that it's a full bouquet of issues that could have or may have contributed to the decline in math and social studies. Yes, but then as I say, nothing scientific has been done yet. For now, we are just looking at the possible factors that may have occasioned the results on our hands. And so let's wait. I'm told that the chief examiner's results should be ready by the end of the year. So let's wait. Once it's out, we'll see where the content issues are, so that the GES will push for interventions, support teachers, motivate them so that they can have interventions, prepare the students better, especially in the areas where they struggle. And then, at the same time, we'll continue to emphasize that the government must uphold and continue to strengthen invigilation, strengthen question security, to improve the integrity of the assessment processes.
Results will go lower than now. What are you saying? Okay, but I mean, I withdraw that statement though. But just to make it concise, because I know that you have to also attend to other interactions on other platforms, since you've always been the foremost entity that we always resort to for these interpretations. Over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, we've had a number of interventions. There have been PASCOs. I remember 32 million, 2 budgetary years, so 64 million, supposed to have been used by the students. And then we had tablets. They said they had PASCOs inside the tablets, or on the tablet, so to speak, all those things. And then I made a scenario here. Students were not repeated. And sometimes when the BEC results came, we found that, statistically, we will not say they form a huge number, but from basic level, they are with very extremely poor grades, and they get into the system like that. Whilst we don't tend to find their niche and try to improve the IQ levels and find things for them to do within the education system. We've done all these interventions. Can we then say, by way of question, the chicken has come home to roost?
I think that all those that you mentioned played key roles in our examination outcomes. The past questions were helpful. The interventions were helpful. I'm not too sure whether the interventions are still as effective as they used to be. But it's either the government or PTAs or alumni supporting interventions, especially in the last semester, so that more extra tuition, guidance on how to answer questions, etc. More engagement in those areas are done in some schools. I don't know whether it's in all schools, but there's a need to strengthen. I think that all those that you mentioned are important, and if properly implemented, they always contribute positively towards examination outcomes. From the policy perspective, what I think we should do is that we have to strengthen engagement, teacher-student engagement, especially in the final semester, prepare them adequately in how to write examination. Look, I spoke to about 4 teachers in 4 category A schools. All these teachers were invigilators, okay, and doing the core maths, okay, yes. And then 2 of them are actually maths people. One tells me that immediately after the paper, he knew they would struggle because they started complaining that I think there's a topic called circle theorem. And according to that particular teacher, that's an area they struggle a lot. But this time around, the question wasn't a standalone question. It was laced. I mean, it was woven into more than one set of questions. And so anyway, they will meet a circle there. I don't know. I think I remember circle when we were doing O-level. I remember circle. I also didn't like it. So you see, the point I want to make is that all these things border largely on adequate student preparation. We don't know how inadequate the space for preparing for examination is in our senior high schools because of the length of time students spend in school. And so always should try as much as possible to make sure that you improve the time on task. Okay, you improve the contact hours within the limited time they spend because of, among others, the double track. In the past, we've seen a lot of interventions in that area. The interventions still continue in many schools, but it appears that there's a coordination deficit. And some of the schools I spoke to, they said, oh, the intervention is being supported by alumni groups. Others were saying that PTA. It would be good that the GES coordinates these interventions and motivates teachers to do this extra work because we don't have enough days to spend in school. And so you definitely have to do extra work and support them with extra allowance. That's very, very important. I can't verify, but there's one school where the teacher said that the intervention money didn't reach them. It comes to the school, but it doesn't reach the teachers. If the GES is coordinating the interventions, they will know whether teachers are actually receiving the motivation or not. And then they will know how effective the interventions are being deployed. And so for me, as I'm saying, it is an opportunity to review and strengthen the learning process, especially the pre-examination learning process. That is 1. 2, an opportunity to remind students that this time we have moved into an era where there are very, very, very biting implications for examination malpractice.
Okay.
There's zero tolerance for examination malpractice. Okay. Teachers are being prosecuted. About 19 so far are being prosecuted. And so they should not prepare for examination with the intention that they will have support from teachers, as we've seen in years past. That change in behavior, okay, must be facilitated through behavior change communication, so that the student will prepare to go to examination rooms independently, with no expectation of support from anywhere. If these 2 things are done, I think that we should be able to even improve upon the performance in all the, not just the maths and social studies, but all the subject areas.
All right.
That's what I believe. And so let's wait for the chief examiner's report. But let's continue to encourage WAEC. In our report, which we published in October, you realize that there was a question about the number of invigilator visits. Realize that, sorry, the number of external supervisor visits by WAEC, realize that it has improved. Okay. By WAEC, visited the centers, the 150 centers, they were
Alright.
there at least on 4 or 5 occasions. And that was great. Okay, so as we continue to invest in WASSCE surveillance and monitoring systems, continue to strengthen the sanctions regime for teachers participating or invigilators participating in malpractice, etc. Let's also help change the mindset of students not to rely on collusion or rapport,
Alright.
and then more independent in their preparation, and let's strengthen interventions in the areas where there are gaps. If we do this, we should be able to improve generally student performance going
Thank
forward.
you so much, Kofi Asare, always on hand to help us when he has to. Mr. Kapi, your last words. Can we go one round, then you say the last words?
So just let me, because there are other people who are trying to get to me, so let me just finish with this.
All right.
That Mr. Kofi Asare has said a lot. Basically, what we would also want done is for teachers to prepare the candidates adequately, get them to know, to test themselves on a number of questions before they appear in examination hall. People should avoid making attempts to assess the candidates in the examination hall. We are not helping ourselves. The future of education will be bleak if we go in that direction. We should award grades to people who deserve them, and those who are not really strong, we prepare them for remedial examinations.
Remedial. Mr. Kapi,
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Have a good day.
All right. I mean, not to take anything away from the work that WAEC has done for this one. Kwekubuanyi, Doc,
Yeah.
Charlie, Asama to you. I love your.
It's worrying.
So without the assistance, the students fell.
They confirmed everything I said.
Yes, they just fell.
Rule.
There was no room for you to go and write anywhere on the board, to go around the student
project
to teach them. No room. Minimal.
Let me say a good morning to my co-panelists here, and then also to wish my godfather, who today is in the OT region, meeting the people of Boem.
Who is your godfather?
Honorable Kenny Japan.
Okay.
He's in the OT region from today to, stop this, to on the 3rd.
Where was he when he was saying
on-
people think that he's afraid? He's not afraid.
That was in
Takwa.
Takwa.
Because he was giving
There was
giving the Cape Coast vibe. What did he say? Showdown skills. I thought he said he had stopped.
No, it was because of some of the threats that has been coming to some of the delegates from the former member of parliament, who thinks that they should be in a scam, and then goes around threatening them. If you don't vote for my candidate, I'll take you off the album. You are not going to vote again and all that.
So he'll win,
sometimes, yes, we are winning. We will definitely have a new leader of MPP come
We are winning.
1st of January.
I thought MVP has boycotted.
Oh, no. Oh, stop.
Please go ahead. We're talking WAEC, BEC, WAEC.
We're doing BEC.
Kwekubuanyi, PhD. Please, let's go.
Listen, Ro, I find it quite disheartening when some of these things come into the public space. This is on a national discourse, putting away every political angle. Listen, for 461,000 students to write an exam out of 1,021 schools, and we have these results that come out. We have about 7,000 students who brought foreign materials into the examination center, and so their results have been held. We have about 653 students who brought mobile phones into the examination hall. We have approximately 55.82 passing in social studies, and then about 196,000 students failing between E8 and F9 in social studies. When it comes to integrated science, we have 161,000 that fell in the same bracket and they failed. Mathematics, we have 48.73% that passed, which means approximately those that fell between the E8 and then F9 were 220,000 students. It means there's a problem with our educational system.
At that level, if not all levels.
Yes. It means we are going through a problem that I don't think we should even politicize anything, because when it comes to the education of our wards, our brothers, our sisters out there, and then the foundation must be the right educational system. Okay? And if we get it wrong, it means that we are done for. We are done for.
The whole
as a country.
generation.
Yes, the whole generation is gone. And education, if it's supposed to be a good foundation where students will go through this and then will fashion what they have to become in future, then Ghana must set up. And we must have, I think we should have a national consensus to some of these things, discussions. You see, I feel bad for somebody who has ever been in a classroom before. And then you look at what is happening in our educational system today, where we are being told that people went to do examination halls with mobile phones, with questions that has been solved, and then we are being told that there were APO. Yes, there were times that when you pick the chief examiner's report and you read it, over the past 3 years, okay, you will see that there will be a trend of questions that would reappear. It may not be in the same statement or in the same wording, but then they will rephrase them and all that. And then if you're a very good teacher and you do all these background checks and then you will prepare your students to meet whatever that is required of them when you go out there to the examination rooms. But then what do we see? For students to feel that it is their bona fide,
They are entitled.
they are entitled
Yeah.
to have questions, or if you may, as my brother was, Lord Damkwa was putting it, that they will bring them what, Apple, or they will bring them past questions, if you may, and then they will solve them and then would try and guide them. But then if you are solving past questions, it should be out of the examination hall. But then here we are told that teachers even write, they answer the questions and give them to the students. That, and then they watch out. They have people that will watch out and see that nobody is coming. It is scandalous for our kids to go through this. Listen, yes, we understand that students are not learning nowadays. They feel they must be relaxed, and then they will sit back home and then relax, and then the teachers will just spoon feed them. And then some teachers too will not be teaching. You go to some of the schools and then you find them sitting under some trees and chatting and all that.
TikTok generation.
And then, you see, teachers must sit up. Our kids have to sit up. And then we know that this free SHS and then the politicization of it, that yes, we did well. Free SHS came in and the students are doing well and all that. It also did not help matters. Because
This one, you are being nationalistic.
yes, I'm not talking about any political whatever.
NPP, NDC.
Listen, this is the foundation of Ghana. If we get it wrong, we will be doing away with the social fiber of Ghana, and Ghana will not have that foundation or the mindset of good students who will lead this country tomorrow. So let's talk about it. You see, politicization of these things where people invested in the old thing that you talk about, the past questions, and then
32
were
million each
given
year.
to
64 million.
students, and teachers have to solve them, and then it looks like we were guiding teachers to even do the wrong things. So instead of preparing the students towards the exams, they would rather sit and then answer questions and hand them over to them. This must not happen again.
Okay.
It will not be good for Ghana.
I love the passion with which you've spoken. What do you say Kenya Japan is now? To the OT region? So my question to you, since you are coming from the academia, I remember 2, 3, 4 years ago, this professor, of course, it degenerated into MPP NDC. We're told that in the cohort of his university, he belonged to the NDC side or something like that. But he made a very cogent statement. I think he said he taught maths at the time, or it was somebody who was familiar with mathematics, and said there was no correlation with the grades that the students had on their WASSCE result sheet with their performance when they made entry into first-year university lecture halls. What's your own assessment and observation, let's say, over the last couple of years? And I'm using the last couple of years so that I don't get bogged down by you're trying to put a regime into anything. But I mean, clearly, your own observation. They have good results, but the output that you expect of somebody, let's say, my time, and we are all the same year, 97, right? For example, when we were in school, we met O-level, A-level, that's upper 6, lower 6, and upper 6. You know, those 3 badges. At the end of the period, the way they learned, that also had a certain influence on the way we did as well. The textbooks were voluminous. You read and read for nothing. No distractions, no internet, etc. So by the time you go, you're baked. You look at the performance of the students when they make entry first year, and you relate that to their grades. What's your own observation as a lecturer?
All right.
And so you will not be surprised with this.
Yeah, let me say good morning to our viewers. This is a difficult situation that we find ourselves. Before I go into that, Papa Ro, let me make a passionate appeal to the government. All right, with regards to roads. I took a journey to Bono region, precisely Doma. And you know, when you go through Kumasi, between Ekropon and Edujama, the road is terrible. Terrible. Papa Ro, I think that the Minister for Roads and Highways will be listening. Or boss, I should appeal to you.
Well, he's listening. I mean, you know, we are doing a lot with the big push and everything, so don't worry. Okay. And the area you're talking about, I believe they have the drip machine.
Sure.
Yes, so they should be able to do the local construction. Yes.
Then from Gambia number 2 to Chiremesu, Amesu, terrible. And you look at the number of trucks conveying cocoa beans. Okay. Oh, I think that if the CEO for Cocoa Board, what's the name? Dr. Randiabe. You know, Dr. Randiabe completed NIPS. And so I taught his class.
I'm asking this question. You know
I'll go there.
You know the current cohort.
Don't worry.
They entered school which year?
I'm coming. Don't worry.
2023?
Yes. Don't worry. You see, Roland, that notwithstanding, you see, where we find ourselves, I've been doing some statistics with the laptop and some calculations here. It's terrible. Very, very terrible. Do know that from 2022, 2023, 2024, social studies has always been on the lead, above 70%. All right. Why is it that this year, social studies got 55.82, and it is the worst performing subjects? That's a question we need to answer. All right. Now, if you compare 2025 results, subject by subject, you know, to 2022, 2023, 2024, apart from English language, I believe you are listening. Apart from English language, which did well, had 8.6% improvement. You know, that is between, when you do the comparison between 2022 and 2025. That was the only year that English language improved. All the other years, when you do the comparison with 2025, there were drops. There were drops, except that the drops in English language, that is 2023, 2025, 2024, 2025, were somehow manageable. You understand? Now, if you pick social studies compared to all the subjects, when you do the comparative analysis, you will see that there has been a drop of 21%, 21.69%. That is serious. That is if you compare 2025 results in social studies to 2022. And this is not something that any country can be proud of. This is not something
What
that,
have we been doing wrong?
bro, I don't know, but all these questions, I'll answer them. Don't worry. You see, and I feel that in the first place, what the professor said back then was that he was actually ahead of all his peers, and for that matter, probably, Ghana Education Service, who probably didn't see what the professor saw then. And if it was a matter of seriousness, they could have sat down with him to find out why. You understand? We wouldn't have been here by now. We've had to follow that conversation. And as a teacher with experiences from the basic level through to the secondary level and to the university level, I understand why these things are happening.
Tell me.
Number one, the quality of teacher education has dropped.
Yeah. Since when did you notice this? Because you've never said this before.
I have noticed it when I was actually on the field teaching. And again, when I got to the university as a lecturer, I saw a sharp decline in the quality of students that we have. And if you trace back, you see, it will interest you to know. You know the reason why a lot more students want to join either police, immigration, army, and all that. Do you know why?
Tell me.
Because
their grades cannot be used at the university.
Exactly. They don't actually own their own results.
I'm telling you.
They don't have it.
They don't know what?
They don't own it. And
Legon Law School dismissed students who went to the law school with A's, with grade 8s. They dismissed them. So the results were not actually reflective of what they did.
Those results are not theirs. Like you were saying, like what the people you were interviewing were saying. I mean, what?
So you are saying that these are the real.
So
let me add, so I have a message. This one is coming from Yakuma. Mr. Yakuma says this group of SHS students whose result just came, which years did they enter JHS? Which year did they also get admitted to SHS? And I am very sure the NDC government has got nothing to do with their upbringing. When the fundamentals are weak, the results will expose MPP.
So that is the political bit of it. Let him deal with it. All right. But my point is this. Look.
So what do you say to that?
Yes, so I've given you, were asking for factors, right? I've given you factor one.
Does this factor fall in line?
So if you want to fall in line, you want to know the ages of the teachers who are teaching them, at least from the basic level up to the senior high school level. All right. Then probably you will even know which regime admitted their own teachers, which regime brought them from the basic level to the SHS and even to the teachers, how do you call it, the training colleges and all that, you see, colleges of education. You see, the point is this. When you look at teacher quality, it is dropping. It continues to drop, all right, because of some of these things. There was this minister somewhere in the first regime of JDM, all right. I think he became the minister for health, and I think he was jailed, all right. He made a profound statement and said that, look, the quality of
Minister of Health jailed in Ghana.
Oh, I think he's a governor.
Abuga.
He wasn't a minister.
Oh, no, Jida.
Okay, Jida, okay.
Yeah.
He said that.
That's Chana Paga.
Yes.
Member
People
of
were
Parliament.
forcing him to give protocol to their students, was to become medical doctors. I said that, look, this pressure on me, I can't do it. One, because if your ward is not qualified and you push me to get him or her that kind of degree, what happens? One day, when you yourself you are sick, the person will prescribe bad medication for you, and you are dead. At a point in time, my own son, my own daughter, bad prescription, had it not been a D farmer, I would have been in trouble. The quality of teachers, quality of students we are having now. I mean, when we get to the university level, look, it's pathetic. You don't get students writing essays continuously, 2-3 sentences without making grammatical error. Spelling mistakes, subject-verb agreements. I mean, these are things that you begin to question where they are coming from. Who taught them? What kind of education did they receive? All right. The next thing is methods of teaching and learning. Or, you see, I heard them talk about the fact that some of the questions that were asked,
They twist them small, no, they conf.
you understand? And not even that, when you ask students to do practical, answer questions practically, or you put a practical question down, even at the university, people are struggling.
Okay.
Are struggling. More or less when you give them project assignments, that one, you'll be tagged. The lecturer, they'll give you the name. All right. So, you see, textbooks. I don't know the school that your children are attending, and I don't know any of us. Please, when you go home, take time. Read through their textbooks and see the quality of textbooks our children are reading. I don't know what NACA is doing.
But Naka was there. You didn't complain about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not a member of NACA.
You
but
every
no,
day,
I'm
that's what you
telling
say.
you, but I'm
The thing
telling
was that
you.
You won't say it. Now
Yeah,
you are.
yes, I have to say it. Why
Please,
wouldn't
you
I
have
say
the
it?
time.
You see, the quality of textbooks. When you go home, pick even storybooks written by Ghanaians. Read them. Enkoyi, Bakukura. Yes, already they are politicians.
Who was head of Naka? Am I?
You understand?
Ama.
The kind of people they give contracts to, the publishers that they give contract to. When we were in school, look at the quality of books that we were reading. I mean, you pick a mathematics book, 4S and co, and you are reading and you know that, yes. Look. Modern biology. These Nigerian writers, Afulayan and co.
They talk old school.
But what you can do comparison. Your question, yes.
Charlie, gentlemen, thank you. My time is up. Sorry, I gave all the time to Africa Education Watch and WASSCE. But gentlemen, I know you have.
Please let me land.
Yeah. Let me
land.
So I have this one from.
Roland, you are not being fair to me.
No.
Roland, you are not being fair.
Okay.
You see.
Okay, land.
You go to certain schools and there's no even textbook for them to read. Availability of textbooks. We cannot even talk about facilities that students are using. Okay? And the last one, our children, our wards, the students that we are churning out now, they are not even conscious about themselves. They are not. And it is very pathetic that when you talk to somebody who is even in JHS 3, what do you want to become in future? The person is confused. So if you don't have a direction, you don't know the direction you are going, how do you become conscious of yourself? I think that some of these things we need to know. You see, the statistics that are
The problem is that same way now one can.
we are mad.
Now one can. Because they say
to create a platform yourself.
because they say So I have this one from Shistus. Good morning and thank you for this. He's an educationist, long-standing educationist. He says, how we show, especially headmasters, that teachers have completed their respective syllabi before the students wrote their respective papers. How will a teacher be able to adequately assess his students when he has a population of about 95 students, sometimes over 100 in one class? In some schools, extra classes are more effective than normal classes. Some teachers in such schools even find ways and means to make the students believe that until they attend their extra classes, they won't pass. And last one, he says, let's all remember that the current free senior high school system we're running is only 2.5 years. And sometimes the students even spend less than 2 years in the schools. And so the system in itself is not even 3 years. Remember, these students, this batch of students spent a lot of time at home, even before they wrote their exams, throughout the 3 years of the time that they were in school. I have a last message.
People are saying that it's a request from the producer to give us time to
All right.
discuss it. People are saying I've received about 8
People
messages.
are interested in it.
Yes.
And then this one is coming from Araba. Good morning to you, Araba Segwa. Araba Segwa said, most of these students, I know some of them, were promised help, but later, when they got to the examination centers, they got disappointed. The helps from their teachers didn't come because of the directive. And it is good. This one is going to make us sit up. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have the latest headlines in sports for